My name is StormAttack, and I haven't uploaded a video in 2.5 years, but I have returned to make a guide on my favorite Roblox game lately, One More Night. More specifically, a guide on the game in case anyone is either lost or wanting to try it out. If you don't know what One More Night is, the game was created by Davdavimus, or David, and was inspired by a FNAF roguelike game called Too Many Nights, with a lot of mechanics coming from that game. What makes One More Night unique is the fact that it's not limited to FNAF characters, as they also have a few characters from other Roblox games such as doors, rooms, Deep Woken, and even real people's avatars as threats for the game. I'll be going over how the game works and the threats, penalties, shop items, achievements, and challenges that come with it. I also plan on making future videos related to One More Night whenever it updates or if there are more challenges involved, regardless of if it's in the game or made by the community. Without further ado, let's get into the first subject. Upon starting a new run, you'll be met with two doors. On the left is where the actual game is, and on the right is where a sandbox is. In this case, we're going to start a new run. We don't want to do sandbox mode because that's not where the main game is. You will then be teleported into a threat selection room, allowing you to choose between 3 threats. In my case, Potos, Old Bunny, and Rush. And also in my case, I decided to choose the first threat, Potos. Now, the threat selection list has been refreshed for me to choose between Jan, Chicken, and Fox, with Potos now being added in as a starter threat. Upon turning around, there will be a threats board to allow you to know what threats you have chosen. In this case for Potos, the AI level is set to 10, the lowest for any starter threat. Upon turning back around, we will choose our second and third starter threats. In this case for me, Jan as my second and Barry as my third. And then turning back around to the board, we will see that they're now updated with Potos, with AI level 10 as their threat level. Then we can go over to the green square and then press E to begin our very first night here. Starting off Starting off the very first night, it's very peaceful to say. Nothing really happens as you only have 3 threats. For example here, I just dealt with Barry, but he's going to appear about right now. Potos is going to be slow moving, and Jan is not going to be here for a while. And within this office, you have a few things to your disposal. 3 doors, a desk with a laptop, and 2 vents. And hey look, there's Jan now. But yeah, the first night isn't really that bad, so to say. So I'm going to speed this footage up. So anyways, how was your day? But like the great Markiplier once said, the first night is never usually that bad in any of the games. Night 1 is very peaceful and eventually will end with the classic ding 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 ding. But compare night 1 to night 19, where you have to deal with 20 plus threats, 10 plus penalties all at once, not letting you have a moment's rest. Yeah, you don't want that. Moving on to night 2, you'll have to choose a brand new threat. In this case, I chose Mango, along with a penalty, which will occur every other night for you to have to choose. In this case, I chose Stubborn Barry. And now we move on to our very second night, where we have to deal with a brand new threat. And here is meeting him, Mango, the monkey. And all I have to do is shine my light on him and he'll go away. But I'll get more into depth on that in his section. Beginning night 3, we'll have to choose another brand new threat that we have to choose to deal with, in which for this case I chose FMNoob. But now there is a shop with buffs that I can buy. And here's the thing about money. Money is gained during the night when dealing with threats, and they vary in different paychecks. For example, dealing with Jan will give you a total of $1 after giving his supplies. And do this over and over and you'll get more and more money. Now, unfortunately as of right now, I am broke as shit, so I can't buy anything within the shop in this run. But you can save that money for night 5 when the shop reappears again, allowing you to be able to buy even more expensive buffs. Threats and penalties are the reason why this game is as popular as it is. With so many unique ones, it's hard to keep track, with there being door threats, camera threats, and office threats, all of which bring their own unique brand of pain that you're going to have to deal with. And there's about a total of 36 of them, so I'm going to have to categorize them in the way that they're dealt with. And we're going to have to start off with the one with the shortest amount of threats. That being... the first one up on our list of door threats is Bad. Bad will appear in the entrance camera holding up a sign that'll have an arrow pointing either left or right. After enough time, Bad will begin running to your office, and you have to close the door that corresponds with the arrow being shown. If it was the left arrow, close the left door. If it was the right arrow, close the right door. Upon closing the correct door, Bad will eventually knock on your door and let you know that he has returned back to entrance cam, holding back up his sign. So Bad sounds very simple enough to deal with, right? Wrong. Bad requires a lot of micromanagement in order to properly deal with him. If you can't watch his camera, the only way to survive against him is by closing both of the doors, which will end up costing you a lot of unnecessary power. But if you want to save your power, you'll have to look at him on the cameras, which can end up spending a lot of time that you could be dealing with other threats. Oh, but that's not the end of Bad. See, remember when I mentioned penalties? Bad has a penalty called When I Feel Like It. This gives Bad a chance to change his sign. Keyword chance. Sometimes he will change his sign to be a different arrow, sometimes it'll just be the same, requiring a lot more micromanagement to deal with him than already before. That's why this guy's name is Bad. Because he's fucking bad. Bunny and Chicken will attack your doors from the left and the right. And to prevent them from killing you, you will have to close the doors that they're coming from. After closing the doors, hop onto the cameras and look at them on the cameras of the left or right hall to make them go away. Then they will turn back to the stage where they will begin retrying. Then reopen the doors to make sure that you are not wasting any power. Just like Bad, Bunny and Chicken have a penalty. In fact, two penalties that they both share. Upon closing the doors on both of them and going over to look at them on the cameras, it'll take longer to get rid of them because of a penalty called Haunting Duo, with a second penalty called Copycats. And as you've just seen right there, Copycats will make Bunny and Chicken swap places, while Haunting Duo will make it take longer to get rid of them. Haunting Duo can also stack, making it worse. Fran will appear in front of your window with an arrow above his head, pointing to either the left or right door. He will then run over to the door he pointed to, requiring you to close it like I just showed you, to make him go away. Whenever Fran does attack, he will give a slight delay between him attacking the door and actually killing you, giving you some reaction time in order to properly deal with him. This is useful especially if you're across the office dealing with another threat, as you can be able to make a whole run across the entire office to get to the door he's attacking before he is able to kill you. So thank you, Dev, for giving us that reaction time. And just like Bad and Bunny and Chicken before him, Fran also has a penalty. Upon closing the door in his face, he will bounce back to the window, either pointing back to the same door or the other door, requiring you to close the other door. And this can stack up to 10 times. So, you're going to be dealing with Fran a lot if this gets really high. Especially in a challenge called Constant QTE, but we're not getting there yet. And this is going to take a little bit, so I may as well mention that this design of Fran is from an FNF mod made by Jordi, the main animator of this game. And here's some footage of it right now. It's actually real, I'm not lying about that whole part. Anyways, that is Fran, so we're going to move on to Jordi himself. Jordi Jumpscare, or Jordi for short, is the main animator of this game like I mentioned earlier. And he's also the definition of hear no evil, because...
Hello there.
You cannot hear him at all.
Right, I'll tell you what, you...
Just ignore him. Moving on from that, Jordi is a threat that doesn't have any sound cue, appearing in any 3 of your doors just at random. The only way to know if he's there is by looking at the door and seeing the bright light in your doorway. It is very hard to miss it. And he also pays really well, so if you want some early game cash, pick him. And he has 2 penalties. The first one is Jordi Door Camper, where he will stay at the door for a very, very long while, until he eventually leaves. And yes, this does stack, this is obviously being dramatic. The second penalty is called Jordi's Perseverance, where upon closing the door in his face, he will bounce over to one of the other 2 doors that have been closed. Similar to Fran's Tenacity, as it can stack up to 10 times just like it. And this is fine and all, although it makes me want to kick Jordi across a football field. Question mark, question mark, question mark, or my shadow, will appear in your door, whispering, requiring you to close the door to get rid of it. This is the exact opposite of how Jordi works. While Jordi requires you to pay attention, Shadow requires you to hear for the whispering, or in this case, watch for the subtitles. It also doesn't have a penalty, so not much else to talk about him, so we're going to move on to our next threat. Strap in, folks, because this one's going to be a long one. Rush, the first of our door's entities, will begin rushing at your office at high speeds, requiring you to close the door in order to prevent it from getting into your office. It's easy to tell when Rush is going to attack because of 4 different reasons. Reason number 1, the building will begin to shake. Reason number 2, rubble appears at the door. Reason number 3, it is very loud. And reason number 4, subtitles point out what door is attacking. And this might seem very easy, but it's anything but. Rush is one of the most aggressive entities within the game, and combined with how much other stuff you have to do, it could get you killed if you don't prioritize Rush over other threats. And if Rush manages to get into your office, you're not dead yet. Put on the mask and it'll take a hit for you, preventing you from dying and saving you to survive the rest of the night. But you only have a limited number of mask hit points, so be sure not to waste them. Rush has 3 penalties, the most of any threat. The first one is I'm tiptoeing here. And as you have just noticed, Rush makes no sound cue and the building does not shake. Meaning that it is completely silent as it traverses over to your office, requiring a lot more attention, similar to Jordi. And this does carry over to the other 2 penalties I'm about to mention. The second penalty is ambush. When ambush spawns, a sound cue plays of ambush's noise. Once it reaches your door, it'll begin going across your window over to your other door, requiring you to have to go and close both doors in order to deal with it. Of course, you don't have to do that. When ambush spawns, the moment that it hits your door, you can just immediately reopen it like so, and it won't attack from that door anymore. So you'll be completely fine conserving some more power. The third and final penalty is A60 from rooms. You heard me correct, rooms. A60 is a lot more faster than Rush, requiring a lot more better reaction time to deal with than what you're used to. So make sure you run over to that door, because A60 is an even higher threat priority than any other threat other than like ventilation errors, but we haven't gotten there yet. So have fun dealing with that. Our last door threat on our list is ZGuesto. ZGuesto will appear within the entrance cam with Bad and will be asleep at the desk. Eventually though, he will wake up and begin running in place. This is the signal to you that he's going to begin running over to your back door. As such, we'll have a sound cue requiring you to go over to said back door, close it, wait for his knock, and then you can reopen it because you know that he will have left and will be back to sleep in the entrance camera. And yes, Bad and ZGuesto are similar, and I think the canonical reason is because the two of them share a brain cell, which is why they probably do the same thing. I'm looking at you, ZGuesto. While ZGuesto doesn't have any actual penalties within the game, he does become harder when you have at least one other person. And I can't confirm for sure, but I'm pretty sure ZGuesto in multiplayer runs is probably the #1 reason for runs failing. When you're with another person, like usual, ZGuesto will eventually wake up in the entrance cam, but will have no sound cue when leaving. When you're in solo, there's always a sound cue. But when you have 1, 2, or maybe even 3 people, that sound cue is gone, making ZGuesto a lot harder to deal with. So if you do end up picking ZGuesto, make sure your communication is top notch. Now that we have finished the door threats within the game, let's move on to... It's about time I started talking about these two little shits. The Balloon Twins, Balloon Boy and Balloon Girl, will start off within the dining room and make their way to your ventilations. Balloon Boy on the left and Balloon Girl on the right. Once they do reach your ventilations, a sound cue will play of thumping, letting you know that they've entered your vents, such as this. And eventually will make your way into your office with a sound cue. Shine your light on them to get rid of them. And this works for both of them. Upon making the Balloon Twins leave, they will head back into the dining room to start over. However, if Balloon Boy ends up staying for too long, he will laugh and remove 25 power from you. If Balloon Girl stays for too long, she'll begin fucking with your doors, constantly opening and closing them, until eventually having them stay closed, requiring you to open it up, removing an uncertain amount of power away from you, and potentially getting you killed by door threats. The penalty for these two little shits is called Resilient Twins, where shining light on them will make it take a really long time to get rid of them. And yes, this is stacked to the max to show you how bad this can be, but with 1 or 2, it isn't that bad, but can still take a while. And something to mention is that the Balloon Twins cannot directly kill you. Instead, will probably be the cause of your death, such as Balloon Girl getting you killed by something like Rush, and Balloon Boy cutting off your power, preventing you from being able to do anything. I can't believe I'm saying this, but the ball in the lobby of this game is a threat within the game. The ball will fall from the ceiling with a warning indicating where it's going to fall. Move out of its way to ensure that you don't get hit by it. This ball will appear anywhere in the office except for at the desk with the laptop. So if you're on your cameras, don't have to worry about this threat. But if you're not, keep an eye out. If you do end up getting hit by the ball, you're not going to die. The mask will take a hit similar with Rush. But if your mask is destroyed, then... And like many of the other threats, Ball has a penalty, called Beach Day, and this one can stack up to 10 times. because this penalty will add another beach ball whenever you choose it. So it can go from 1 to 2, and then from 2 to 3 if you pick it again, so on and so forth until you reach up to a total of 11 beach balls in the office. Old Barry, Old Bunny, and Old Chicken are the old animatronics that I'm talking about here. They all start within the backstage but will make your way to your office. Old Bunny and Old Chicken will go through your vents, and Old Barry will appear in front of your office window. When they do enter your office, a loud sound will play and the lights will flicker. In order to avoid dying, you'll need to put on the mask in order to prevent your exposure bar from building up. Once that exposure bar reaches up to full, you will die. However, there is a silver lining to this, because once you put on that mask, like we're about to see with Old Barry here, the exposure bar will not fill up. So, once you put on that mask, they won't be able to kill you and you can wait until they leave. The first penalty is withered robots, where it takes longer for them to go away when they're in your office. And this can be a little bit of a pain in the ass. And especially with Old Barry with that shit-ass smirk. So can you please go away so I can continue talking? Thanks. The second penalty is specific to Old Barry himself. He will slowly build up your exposure bar while you're in the office. This is called facial recognition. And in order to avoid this exposure bar from filling up, you have to put on your mask to make it go down. However, that exposure bar cannot kill you. He will only be able to kill you when he actually enters your office. Dry is one of my friend's worst enemies. Just kidding. Dry will appear on the left side of your locker having a math question. And upon getting this question right, he will disappear until later when he reappears. Really as simple as that. He does have a penalty called Math Class, where after getting a question right, he will refresh his board to give another question. And this can stack up to 5 times, but his kill timer will reset every time you get a question right, which means that he can be manageable even with a bunch of other threats going on at the exact same time. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. Dry has an achievement related to completing a challenge. This achievement is called the Self-Embodiment of Perfection. And upon beating this challenge math exam, which I'll explain near the end of this video, you'll be given Dry's calculator. And upon equipping this starter equipment, Dry will be guaranteed to appear in your threat selection, reduce his aggression, and make his questions a lot easier to complete, such as 1 + 1, making it take a lot less brain power to find the answer to his questions. Jan is a very simple threat to understand. Walk up to your window asking for his cleaning supplies. Hold E on them on the left of your desk, and he will clean your window. But, does a very shit job at it. He also has a penalty called heavy cleaning supplies, where the supplies will have a white container and will take a lot longer to pick up. This can also stack, but is countered by a shop item that I'll explain later. Kono works similarly to Nightmare Freddy from Five Nights at Freddy's 4. Plushies will appear around the office, requiring you to shine your light on it in order to make them go away. These plushies can spawn on top of the locker, on the shelf, underneath your desk, and in the corner next to the left door. These are also very easy to see, so if you manage to fail to find any of these plushies, you should probably get some glasses, because they're really easy to spot. Kono also has a penalty, called plushie camo, where the plushies aren't invisible until you shine your light on them. And this is bad for a number of reasons, because you're not going to know where the plushie is when it spawns, and you're going to be wasting a lot of unnecessary power because of it. Look at how quickly the power is draining because of these invisible plushies. So have fun trying to find these little things, because they're annoying as fuck. Mango the monkey will appear in your window staring blankly into your soul. Eventually, he will begin knocking on your window, so you have to use your flashlight to make him go away. Mango is one of the most aggressive threats I've seen in this game, as far as I'm aware, because of how often he appears in your window. Along with that, do not shine your flashlight on him when he's staring. Only shine it when he's actually knocking. Mango has two penalties. The first one is called Persistent Mango, where upon him knocking on your window and you shine your light on him, it'll take longer for him to go away, similar to Resilient Twins on the Balloon Twins. The second penalty is Certified Window Tapper, where upon shine your light on him, he'll return to his warning state and then go back to knocking after a short time period. Both of these penalties can stack up to 5 times, so if you end up maxing them both out, this is what it'll end up looking like. But in my honest opinion, Mango is already a really aggressive threat to begin with, so Certified Window Tapper doesn't do that much to me personally, but Persistent Mango definitely does because of how long it takes to get rid of him. And now that we've finished with Mango, let's move on to Pillar. The pillar is a, pillar that spawns within the middle of the office. This pillar increases with size the higher the AI level is for it. Now, this is a problem for one of two things. One, it is hard to maneuver around. As you see, because it's within the middle of the office, getting from place to place can be a little bit painful, and it blocks line of sight. With a penalty called Reduced Polygons Pillar that turns it from a cylinder into a cube, making it harder to maneuver around because of the sharp corners, and it makes it harder to see around because, again, the sharp corners. However, Pillar has a shop item called Glass Pillar that makes it transparent, allowing you to shine your light through it, but is still there. And is the only threat within the game that has a shop item related to it. And on top of all that, the Pillar can't kill you, so we're gonna move on. POTUS will have a vent appear within the back of the office, and will eventually begin crawling its way out of it, with its first warning state having its left arm stick out, its second warning state having both of its arms stick out, and its third and final warning state where its head is now poking out as well, and its arms will begin moving. You have to close the vent in order to make him go away. Very simple as that. However, he does have a penalty where upon closing the vent in his face, it'll go back to its second warning state, with this penalty being called Toaster Vent, because of a joke between toasters and protogens, I guess. But I like my toast like this. Roxie will begin within the storage camera, sitting there and waiting for her time to strike. She will eventually make her way over to the right hall, in which she will stay there until she can move over. You have to throw the Fumodal of Yuyuko Sagyuji, I think, in which she will return back over to the storage camera in order to restart, and this can be thrown at any time. However, if you don't throw it, she will eventually make her way across the window, giving a warning to let you know that she's moved, in which she will then appear within the left hall camera. And after some time, she will make her way over into your maintenance camera, killing off your generator and quickly draining your power, resulting in your death. Roxie has two penalties. The first one is called Metal Fumo, where the Fumo doll is now a piece of metal, and with each stack of it makes it take longer to throw, and this can stack up to 5 times. So have fun throwing that heavy piece of shit. The second one is called Sneak 100, where upon her entering the right hall and she's about to move over to the left hall, she will no longer make that warning sound to let you know that she's moved. So you have to pay real close attention. Oh yeah, we're not done with Roxie just yet, folks. Roxie has a challenge achievement similar to Dry, where you have to deal with them in a certain way in order to get this achievement. This achievement, related to the Fumo doll, is called Not Today Girl, requiring you to throw the Fumo doll during an active power outage. It doesn't matter how you get that power outage, just as long as you throw the Fumo doll during it, and you don't have to survive the night in order to get it. Getting this achievement will give you the Fumo sticker, where it will make Roxie guaranteed to appear, reduces her aggression, and makes the Fumo doll a lot easier to throw. So you can chuck that shit like a football, and she'll go running after it no matter how far it goes.
Fumo.
Screech will make its iconic noise when it spawns behind you. Look at it to make it go away. It works the exact same way it does indoors, except when it does hit you, it'll simply take away a mask hit point instead of killing you instantly. However, like I mentioned before, the mask has a certain number of hit points, so once that's destroyed, you'll be vulnerable to dying to Screech. That's literally all it does. If you're familiar with Five Nights at Freddy's 3, then you'll know what ventilation errors is. The ventilation errors screen will appear between the right and back door. Eventually, this will go off, draining the air within your office. Click on it in order to make it reboot and prevent you from dying. This has a strict timer. This has to be your top priority. And it also has a penalty called Faulty Systems that can stack up to 5 times, making it take longer for it to reboot, which can result in you almost dying if this is at max stacks. Our last office thread to talk about is Void. Choosing Void will result in black matter appearing all around your office. Walking in it would be a death sentence. You can still interact with stuff like the doors and the laptop because the black matter doesn't reach as far as your arms and the desk isn't covered in it. However, certain threats like the ventilation errors will be covered in it, requiring you to walk through it to deal with it. This will cover up your screen and eventually kill you if you stay within it for way too long. Let's move on to our final category of threats. Barry, the first of our camera threats in this section, will appear within your staged camera sitting there idly for his time to move. Look at his face. He couldn't possibly hurt a fly, but he can't move if you're looking at him, so he can stay there. However, once you take your eyes off of him, he will move into the dining room, and all you have to do is simply look at him on the camera and he'll go back a room. So in this case, he went back to the stage where I really want him to stay, but unfortunately that wastes a lot of power. And his movement pattern starts from the stage to the dining room, into the kitchen, all the way into storage, and then into your right hall where he will stay there permanently if he does get there, requiring you to close the door for the remainder of the night, otherwise he'll get into your office and kill you. So make sure you have a constant knowledge of where Barry's location is, otherwise you might die. Along with that, Barry has an achievement similar to Dry and Roxie. This achievement, Are You Ready for Barry, requires you to prevent Barry from moving past the dining room on night 10 or higher, meaning every time Barry laughs, you have to go and make him go back to the stage. Upon completing this achievement, you'll be given Barry's hat, which will make Barry guaranteed to appear, reduces his aggression, and will put a special marker on the cameras to let you know which camera Barry is in. So whenever he laughs, you can go to the exact camera the marker is on to make him go back to where he fucking belongs. Destroyman is a character I don't know anything about because I've never played Debugin, so sorry if I miss any references within this section. Whenever Destroyman III appears, it'll play a sound cue coming from your laptop. And once you hop onto the laptop, a pop-up will appear called coralfever.exe with the bar slowly filling up. Click on it to make it go away, to prevent it from doing any major damage. What's this major damage, you ask? Well, once that bar actually fills up, it'll begin rapidly draining your power, same as Roxie when she enters your maintenance room, eventually causing a power outage. However, Destroyman III can't kill you by itself, and will instead be the reason why you die, same as like Balloon Boy and Balloon Girl. That little shit. With a penalty called Coral Headache, where upon going over to the pop-up and clicking on it, another pop-up will appear, and this will keep going on and on and on and on and on, as this can stack up to I think either 5 or 10 times. Eventually, Coral Fever will go away, leaving you in peace and silence. You're a pretty big damn nuisance, aren't you? FMNoob and Zuffy will appear within the dining room camera, staring at each other lovingly while they hatch a plan to try to fuck you over. Eventually, they'll move to either the arcade or kitchen. And it's not a predetermined pass for both of them. They have a 50-50 chance of whether or not they go to either the kitchen or the arcade in order to enter your left or right vents. Eventually, they'll make a sound cue to let you know that they've entered the vents, different from normal vent threats. Upon checking over to the vent cameras, all you have to do is stare at them in order to make them go away. And that's a little bit of a tidbit that I found out, but I don't know if it's guaranteed for sure, but FMNoob seems to be a lot more aggressive than Zuffy is. And along with this, they have a penalty called Annoying Blue and Red, where it takes longer to get rid of them when you're staring at them on the cameras. And as a little bit of a fun fact, they are some of my favorite threats, even when the people I play with don't like them. Figure is the last of the doors threats on this list. Figure will appear within the entrance camera, kind of tweaking the fuck out because Jordi only gave it a T-pose and he wasn't animated. Eventually though, he'll move with its iconic sound of it growling, so use the audio lure to bring it back a room. This only works if the camera is connected to the one it moved to, with its movement pattern being from entrance, then dining room, then splitting off to either arcade or kitchen, all the way over until it reaches your left or right hall. And it has a penalty called Not Listening, where it'll ignore the audio lure once before moving back once you use the audio lure a second time, consuming a lot of time if you don't use it back to back like I just did. And Figure has an achievement. This achievement, same as Barry's, is called All Figured Out. This requires you to prevent Figure from moving past the dining room on night 10 or higher. The achievement will give you Figure's glow stick, making Figure guaranteed to appear, reduces its aggression, and put a marker on the camera map letting you know which camera Figure is on, allowing you to deal with Figure a lot more easily because you know where he's at. Fox will appear within the gift shop camera. Eventually, he will peek his head out, requiring you to use the camera light in order to make him go back. And he can't progress if you're staring at him like Barry, so let's move over to the arcade camera to wait. And another thing to mention, that Fox has 3 warning states before he actually runs over to your office, just like FNAF 1. And when he does run over to your office, you have a short time span to close that door, which he will run up against it, drain a little bit of power, and go back to Pirate's Cove, which you can open the door now by the way, and we'll begin to retry. So use the camera light again to make him go back. And Fox has one penalty, Fox's Sabotage, where the camera light will take longer for him to fall back, but it doesn't stack. Whenever Old Fox spawns, it'll play the FNAF 2 warning sound, letting you know that it's appeared on the cameras. Go over to either hall camera and shine your light in its face to make it go away, and then it'll come back later on in order to mess with you. Now, another option to deal with Old Fox is that you could technically close the door in its face, but Old Fox will never go away until you shine the light in its face. The door will only simply stop it from killing you until you can deal with it. Just like its newer counterpart, Old Fox has a penalty relating to the camera light. Gold-seeking Pirate will make the camera light take a lot longer to get rid of him, and this can stack up to about 5 times. Isra will appear within your office holding a sign of a chicken. In order to make Isra go away, just simply hop onto the laptop and search either maintenance, arcade, entrance, dining room, kitchen, or storage cameras to find this chicken. Click or flash it to return it to Isra to make him go away, in which the chicken will then relocate to a completely different camera, allowing you to be able to find where it is before Isra appears. However, Isra has a penalty called Chicken, where the chicken will be completely invisible before Isra appears, and will only be visible on the cameras when Isra does appear in your office. So it requires you to play hide and seek with the chicken only when Isra is actively in your office. But once you click on that chicken, it'll relocate and be invisible once again. So have fun dealing with Isra with this penalty. Also, Isra does have an achievement related to his chicken. This achievement, Chicken Percent, requires you to click, not flash, click on his chicken within the second that he appears. This will give you Isra's chicken. This doesn't make him guaranteed to appear, but will reduce his aggression and place a marker on where the chicken is on your camera map. It doesn't matter if chicken is enabled or not, it will always tell you where the chicken is. Apologies if I sound biased, but I fucking hate Noob. Noob will appear with a marker on the cameras, and you will have to stare at this guy dancing to prevent him from getting into your office. For example, when I look away from him, and then yada 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 yada, I look back at him, the bar will refill back up. Oh yeah, and he also moves cameras on his own. That bar needs to stay filled up to prevent him from getting into your office. If that bar goes all the way down, he will enter your office requiring you to put on the mask, where he will stay for a while, and then make your mask take a hit, and then go back onto the cameras where he'll begin dancing again. With his penalty Noob time, making the bar take longer to fill up. I absolutely despise this fucking guy. The puppet will sit within the gift shop camera, being completely inactive with the music box button above the camera map. Keep this music box wound up to prevent her from getting out and free. Just like how she works in Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Do not spam click! When the puppet's music box is completely gone, she will begin going to random cameras on the map, with text appearing saying, "Find me." I can't confirm if it's true or not, but I think the flashlight might help getting rid of her faster. Winding up the music box doesn't matter at this point, so don't do what I did, but once you find her about 3 times, she will return back to her music box with the music box completely wound up, allowing you to retry. Last but not least, Puppet has an achievement. This achievement, Lost Music Box, requires you to beat the challenge Lost Music Box solo. This will give you the portable music box, which will allow you to wind up the Puppet's music box from inside the office and not have to go onto the cameras. However, you can't access the laptop, you can't close the doors, hell, you can't even do anything while you're winding up the music box, but you can put it away as easily as you can equip it, so you can unequip it within the heat of the moment. Last but not least, we have Wormcave and MikePike. Whenever Wormcave appears on your screen, do not get off the laptop. Instead, switch over to a different camera to get rid of him. And for MikePike, he can't stay on your screen for too long, so either switch cameras or get off the laptop entirely. And if you don't listen to me, then the consequences will be dire. If you close the laptop on Wormcave, he will stun you, preventing you from being able to do anything within the office, such as opening the laptop or closing a door or a prompt. And as for MikePike, if he stays on your screen for too long, he will stun you, giving the exact same results as Wormcave. And that was all the threats within this game, but there are still a few general penalties that exist that don't belong to any certain threat, and that is crossed wires, overtime, tired legs, burnt batteries, and claustrophobia. Crossed wires will swap the right and left door switches, making the right switch close left door and vice versa. Tired legs will decrease stamina. Burnt batteries will decrease total power. Overtime will increase the night's duration. And claustrophobia will decrease threat choices by 1. Now, let's move on to... The shop will appear every other run with items and buffs that can help you on your run. These can range from a variety of prices, but you can all get them through dealing with threats. The first is Coffee, that will increase your walk speed, Block Save, that will increase your run speed, and Bloxicle, that will increase your stamina. Next up is Power Saving Mode and Increased Power. Power Saving Mode will reduce the amount of power consumed while using the laptop, while Increased Power will increase your total power by 10. And both of these can stack. Next up is Polished Generator, which will increase the charge rate for the generator, while Turbo Mode will increase that by a total of 300%, but reduce your total power down by 50. Improved Camera Light will improve the camera light's effectiveness just by a little bit and can stack. Dumbbell will reduce duration of prompts by a little bit and can stack. And Better Flashlights will improve the flashlight and can stack as well. And finally, we have Claustrophobia, which will increase the amount of threat choices you have by 1, and Quickly Out will reduce the night's duration by 5 seconds. And now, we can begin talking about the tarot cards. The tarot cards, while rare, offer very powerful effects if you get them, so here's all of them in order. The Fool is a free tarot card but will sacrifice a life to give you 35 coins. The Magician will make your doors consume more power but at a slower rate than normal. The High Priestess will increase your coin multiplier by 100% for one night but then be destroyed the next night. The Empress will reduce your run speed and stamina in exchange for increasing your walk speed, while the Emperor will do the opposite of that. The Hierophant will increase your mask's hit points by 2, preventing entities like Screech from killing you as quickly. The Lovers, or the Linked, will give you a max life and come with a life of its own. The Chariot will make the first 15 seconds of your night nullify all power consumption. Strength is a free card but will make all AI level increase by 15 but give you 45 coins in return. Wheel of Fortune will give you a slot machine within the lobby, allowing you to get a 60% chance of nothing, 10% chance to get either 20 coins or a max life, and a 5% chance to get either increased power, increased walk speed, increased run speed, or increased stamina. All spins will cost you $10. Justice will decrease all AI threat levels by 25. The Hanged Man will remove 2 random penalties. Death will remove 1 random threat that you have chosen. Temperance will increase your power by 10 whenever you lose a life. The Devil will remove 3 random penalties, but add in a random new threat that you'll have to deal with. The Tower will make all starter threats have their AI level reduced down to 1. The Star will increase your total power by 15. The moon will reduce the night's duration down by 9 seconds. The sun will make flashlights and camera lights much more effective. Judgment will cancel out your next power outage and restore 25 power, but will be destroyed after use. And the final tarot card is the World, which will increase your threat choices by 2. And last but not least, there is a shop item called the Tarot Cloth that will increase the chances of the tarot cards appearing within the shop. Hey, Future Storm here. Turns out I forgot about the Hermit card because it's not in the wiki. That has been updated, and to let you know, the Hermit will increase the items within the shop by 1. With how big the game is, there's obviously going to be a lot of achievements, so let's go over them really quickly. Let There Be Light requires you to buy 3 better flashlight upgrades, giving you the broken light bulb. Gone Outside requires you to reduce the night down to 75 seconds, giving you the pocket watch. Overcharge requires you to have 150 or more power, which will give you the spare batteries. The Rich Get Richer requires you to have 200 coins within a single run, requiring you to not buy anything within the shop. This will give you the pocket change. Faster Than You, Never Tired, and Taking a Stroll requires you to have 3 Bloxy Aids, 3 Bloxy Colas, and 3 coffees respectively, giving you Sugary Drink, Bloxy Drink, and Coffee Cup. I Called for Help requires you to beat the game solo. And here is my best advice for beating this game. Choose office threats that don't take much time, like Kono, Dry, Jan, Roxie, you name it, over threats like Fran, Rush, etc. that can drain a lot more power due to their involvement with the doors. Avoid choosing camera threats like Noob and Isra because of how much time they're going to end up wasting. Instead, choose threats like Barry or Figure, who just take a split second to deal with most of the time, and it can just be a one and done. Getting this achievement will give you the portable laptop, allowing you to access the cameras from wherever you are within the office. Did You Shake It requires you to drink Bloxy Cola until you explode. You can find Bloxy Cola within the lobby, and you just have to drink that until you explode. Upon getting this achievement, you'll be given the Witch's Brew equipment, where upon drinking it will refill your stamina and give you an over stamina bar, allowing you to keep running. However, you only have 5 charges of this, so use it wisely. The Paintbrush is the second secret achievement. In order to get the paintbrush, you'll have to go to the door in L bar and spam click on it. It'll say it won't open, keyless entry, impossible to unlock, but just ignore these messages because after enough spam clicking on this door, it will eventually begin breaking down until it breaks. Then you can enter into the hallway and enter the glitchy room, where you will find Jordi's paintbrush. This will give you the equipment of Jordi's paintbrush, making Jordi guaranteed to appear and reducing his aggression. The last secret achievement is called Strongest Hammer. This requires you to score a 97% or higher on the Strongest Hammer minigame in the arcade. Go over to the arcade minigame within the lobby and you will find this minigame. Then you'll have to click on the bar for a percentage. Do this 2 more times and you will eventually hit it down. Yet that total score needs to be 97 or higher. And this is your reward. Nights 1, 5, 10, 15, and 20 are progressional achievements that give the following rewards for beating them. Quick Thinker requires you to beat the Constant QTE challenge solo, just like Giant Puppets challenges. Constant QTE will throw out Fran, Rush, Jordi, Ball, and Oldberry at your face with the A60 modifier, the Facial Recognition modifier, the Jordi's Perseverance modifier, and the Fran's Tenacity modifier, with Fran's Tenacity and everything else set to the max. Along with that, your power is set to 50, meaning that you'll have to conserve your power as much as possible. So don't keep the doors closed for too long, otherwise your power will drain immediately. Beating this challenge will give you the Quick Step equipment, allowing you to do a dash forwards to get from place to place. This is the same as DBD's old Dead Hard, funnily enough. You only have 5 charges though, so use these wisely. Fighting the Thoughts requires you to beat the Unforgiven challenge in the sandbox mode. However, you can bring a friend with you because this challenge has a lot more threats than the other 3. So feel free to bring a friend along in order to beat this. The Unforgiven challenge is no joke. This will throw every FNAF animatronic at you, except for the Balloon Twins and Old Fox, and instead replaces them with My Shadow. Now, here's the way me and my friend beat this. It requires a little bit of cheesing, but what we did was let Barry reach the right door. As the copycats modifiers within the game, Chicken will appear on the right door, so all we have to do is move Bunny over to the right door, and then constantly open and close the right door to reset the kill timer, but not drain as much power. Then, my friend would set on the cameras and deal with Fox and Puppet, while I would run around in the office dealing with shadow and ventilation errors. The old animatronics were a piece of cake, as they gave warnings on when they would arrive, and they were pretty easy to deal with, as all we had to do was put on the mask. That's how me and my friend beat it. And as of right now, Unforgiven doesn't have anything for beating it, so it's just a bragging rights achievement. Since I didn't mention how to beat Math Exam and Lost Music Box back when I mentioned Dry and Puppet, I'm going to mention them here now. Dry's Math Exam is possibly the easiest challenge on this list, as it simply throws 5 threats in your face. These 5 threats being Dry himself, along with Roxie, Jordi, Kono, and Puppet, with the only modifiers being for Dry. And how do you do his math? Simple. Take the last 2 digits of both numbers and do simple addition with them. Then, if it's a double number, you take the last digit of that answer, and then you look for the 3 answers on Dry's board, and you find the one that matches your number. Then click on it, and you will have passed the question. Lost Music Box, on the other hand, isn't as easy. This will throw Puppet, Kono, Mango, A60, and Destroyman III in your face. You'll have to find the puppet outside of her music box on any of the cameras. This can be a pain in the ass because of all the other threats. Mango will be knocking on your window, Kono will spawn in plushies really quickly, A60 is A60, and Destroyman III is not a threat until you're actually off the laptop. However, there is a routine that you can do in order to beat this challenge. The routine is whenever you're on the laptop, always search for the puppet. If Destroyman III appears, click it away immediately. However, once A60 spawns, get off the laptop and close the door it's rushing to. Then look around for any Kono plushies and shine them away. And if Mango just so happens to be knocking afterwards, shine him away, and then go back onto the laptop to search for the puppet. Click away any Destroyman ads you see, and then rinse and repeat the cycle. Emptiness requires you to sacrifice all of your max lives to shadow deals in order to get this achievement, which will give you the heart locket in return. In order to get this achievement, make it to night 10 or night 16 and reach to the shadow deals section. This will require you to sacrifice a max life in exchange for a really powerful buff. For example, I got the self-preservation shadow deal, which sacrificed a max life and gives me this effect instead. And of course, in order to get this achievement, I would have to get the other 2 shadow deals, which will permanently set my max lives to 1 for the remainder of the run, but I get the achievement. These are the following shadow deals within one more night. Self-preservation, the one that I got, will make the doors start consuming more power at half the rate. Avarice will have remaining power be converted into bonus coins. Adrenaline will make coins gained during the night give no stamina drain. Hope will make your run speed slowly increase during the night. Hunger will make coins gained during the night give you decaying speed boost. Powerless will make the camera laptop consume 50% less power and increase your total power by 10. And Greed will increase your coin gain by 25%. No Power, No Problem requires you to beat Night 5 or higher in a power outage, giving you Under My Sleeve with the Judgment card. And finally, Another Memory and I'm Prepared require you to equip your first main and starter equipment. They don't give you anything, they're just there. Upon beating Night 19, you will find the threat selection room to be shrouded in darkness, an eerie blue and black filling the room, with only one threat choice available. Myself. Upon selecting it, everything gets even darker, and going over to the threat board will reveal that myself is the only threat available. And it has a wide variety of attacks, so we're going to go over all of them. The first attack is the door attack, where it will begin sprinting to your left or right door. Close the door before it reaches it in order to stay safe. The second one is the back door threat, which is just my shadow. The third attack is the camera attack. It'll laugh, so you have to check the left or right hall camera and use your camera light to make it go away. The fourth attack is the window attack, where it will begin knocking on your window. Use your flashlight to make it go away, just like Mango. The fifth and final attack is the Void, which works the same as the Void threat, but in a more precise location and lasts for a certain amount of time. And the final thing to mention is that myself adds an entire minute to night 20, making it the longest lasting night within the game without penalty stacking. Upon making it to 6 AM, you'll be forced into a final stand, where you'll have to use your flashlight and shine it on the head of myself. Keep this up for as long as you can. Do not let the flashlight shine away from it. After enough shining your light on its head, it will eventually go away, meaning that you have beaten night 20. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I made this video with the intent of it just being fun. I really enjoy One More Night. I love the characters, and hell, I've even interacted with the community, and I have loved every second of it. And so I wanted to make this video just for the sole purpose of fun, and to help new players if they ever want to play the game. So thank you again for watching this. Sorry that it's like an hour fucking long, but when the game does update, I will make a brand new video on that. So while we wait for that, I will see you guys another time. Bye!